Good evening, I'm Kofi Mensah, chale.news, and today was a lot. The Supreme Court dropped 2 landmark rulings in one day. A grid fault knocked out power and running water for millions of Ghanaians. Fuel prices are climbing again. And Parliament gave minimum wage earners a tax break. A full day, let's get into it. The Supreme Court has struck down the delegate-based systems political parties use to pick presidential and parliamentary candidates unanimously. Unconstitutional. This is a constitutional watershed. And here's the immediate problem. The NPP's internal leadership race is already underway. Whether those primaries must now be restructured is an urgent, unanswered question. Full breakdown on chale.news. Same court, second unanimous ruling. The Office of the Special Prosecutor has survived a constitutional challenge. Its authority to prosecute corruption cases is now the clearest it has ever been. That matters for every active case the OSP is running, including matters tied to the Asante Berko trial. Speaking of which, Asante Berko, former Goldman Sachs banker, former Tamar Oil Refinery CEO, is in a Brooklyn courtroom right now. He's accused of funneling over $1 million through US banks to bribe Ghanaian officials for a Turkish energy deal. He's pleaded not guilty. Conviction carries up to 20 years. At 3:11 this morning, Ghana's national grid failed. Accra, Kumasi, Kasoa, Aburi lights out across the country simultaneously. Gridco says engineers are working on it, but gave no restoration timeline. And then it got worse. Ghana Water Limited confirmed that most of its treatment plants and pumping stations are offline because they run on grid power. So one grid fault has left millions of Ghanaians with no electricity and no running water. Ghana Water issued an apology. No timeline for restoration. Let that sink in, sink. And into that same household, higher fuel prices. The NPA's August pricing window is here. Diesel up 18.3% to 16.97 Ghanaian cedis a litre. Petrol up 9.4%. LPG up 8.5%. Second consecutive upward adjustment, driven by rising crude prices and a weaker cedi. Trotro fares, food costs, cooking gas, all under pressure. One piece of relief though. Parliament has passed the Income Tax Amendment Bill, meaning Ghanaians earning the national minimum wage will no longer pay income tax on those earnings. Small business presumptive tax threshold also jumps from 200,000 Ghanaian cedis to 750,000 Ghanaian cedis. The full mid-year budget review lands by Friday. MTN Ghana's mobile money arm is now its own company, Mobile Money Fintech Limited. Officially spun off as of March 31st. A potential MasterCard deal values it at $5.2 billion. Your wallet, PIN, and agents stay exactly the same. Ghana has opened a formal claims register for citizens who lost businesses and property in South Africa's xenophobic attacks. The government is pledging legal and diplomatic action to win compensation. Over 1,000 evacuees are also in line for grants and employment support. GES Director General Professor Ernest Kofi Davis is raising an alarm. Gang violence is now entering senior high schools. A student in Accra allegedly called in outsiders to attack teachers. His words, "Ghana is seeing forms of indiscipline it has never encountered before, and schools cannot solve this alone." On live TV today, an NPP and NDC communicator came to actual blows debating Ghana's IMF bailout on Amansan television. The show went off air. The video went viral. Neither party has said a word about discipline. Remarkable. Adwasafo has disclosed that her late father, Apostle Kantanka, left 60% of his estate to orphan children who served his Christo Asafo mission, not to his biological family. That revelation reframes the entire family dispute over his funeral, which is tomorrow. It was always about a will. The National Population Council says 1 in 4 Ghanaians between 15 and 35 is not in education, employment or training. Young women bear the brunt. No policy response was announced at the same event where the data was released. 1 in 4. Good news from Glasgow. Joseph Paul Amoah and James Dadzie are both through to the men's 200 metres semi-finals at the Commonwealth Games. Amoah won his heat in a photo finish, ranking 3rd fastest qualifier overall. Ghana is in the semis. Finally, roughly 1 in 10 Ghanaians has hepatitis. The Health Ministry has launched an elimination task force and appointed Okiemi Kwame as National Hepatitis Ambassador with a 2030 target. No funding or measurable milestones were announced at the launch, but the attention is welcome. Heavy day, Chale. Every story has more depth at chale.news. Head there for the full reporting. I'm Kofi Mensah. Stay informed. Stay safe.